No, seriously. I wanted to touch base on your patriotism, you being a serviceman. I know that's a big, important thing for a lot of us here in the studio. Our families, a lot of our friends have served for us. I personally haven't, but I do have a tremendous amount of respect, and I know the song Hollow Man has a lot to do with that. Can you touch a little bit about what it was like when you were a soldier? Is there anything that you'd like to drop out there? I know you talked about PTSD and how you're kind of open about getting people to talk about it, to be able to come to grips with it. And it's kind of like a thing for you. What do you have to say about that?
Well, that's a deeply important subject to me because I went to Iraq in 2004 and came back in 2005, and then just sort of floated along for a while after that. And back when I got home, it wasn't a big deal. People didn't really understand PTSD, and it wasn't until a couple of years later that they really started getting into treatment and therapy for these guys that were coming home. And when when we got home, it was like, well, see you guys later. Have fun. Here's 30 days off. And right. I was part of the stop-loss program, so that's when they actually kept you over your time just to continue serving overseas. And so when I got out of Iraq, I got off the plane, and I think it was like 25 days later, I was home in Saginaw, Michigan. And I suffered with PTSD for the longest time, and I don't really want to go into a lot of detail about that, but
Sure.
I didn't understand what was going on with me. I didn't know. And then a friend of mine who was a Marine vet, local guy, he started getting help. And then he started getting all of his friends, like me and other guys who he knew served overseas and were having problems. He started pushing us to get help. And once I did, it was completely life-altering. I had no idea what was going on with me. I drank a lot. I was mean. I kept to myself. There's a lot of things that were going on that were just really. I just thought that that's the way I am. Whatever, who cares? Yeah. Realized that I was having some sort of mental health problem until I started getting help. And after that, it was sort of like this thing where now I regret. See, I started going to the VA in 2012, and so I regret all that time from 2005 to 2012 when I was a jerk to everybody, and I really did drink my problems away. And it was, I don't want to, really get into that either.
No,
but if you drink too much alcohol, you become enough of an alcoholic. When you stop drinking, you have to go to the ICU because it's the only drug that can actually kill you. That was my wake-up call, is when I decided I wanted to quit drinking, and they sent me up to the ICU so I didn't die. And then it was like,
wow,
oh man, this is real.
Yeah.
This is like really, really bad. So I tried as much as I can with the music that we write, and even with people who want to try and get a hold of me, just ask, story, just so I can encourage them. I do the best I can. I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I try to do my best to advocate for those people and to push them and tell them that, it's scary, it's hard to do, but you'll thank yourself for doing it. And in a lot of ways, getting help for PTSD was harder for me than the time I spent in Iraq.
Understood.
There's a lot of pride swallowing, and there's a lot of admission that there's something wrong with you, which is really hard to do. And so, that's actually really what the song Hollow Man is about. It's about this huge empty feeling that you have when you're a veteran. And you come home and nobody really understands you. And I don't want to say it's plagiarized. It's inspired by a T.S. Eliot poem that he wrote about the similar feeling that they had after World War I, when an entire generation of people was just gone, and just this great sense of I don't want to call it. It was almost like a desperation, but a quiet desperation, just sort of engulfed Europe, and that's a feeling that a lot of vets get. They feel like people don't understand them, that they can't go to anybody, and that telling somebody that they feel this way is a weakness. And it's important. It's important not to feel that way, and somebody's got to tell them. A lot of the time you got to hold somebody's hand and tell them it's like, man, it's okay. Yeah. So that's what that song, and I've got a few others, especially on the newest album. Like the last two albums have been more veteran heavy than the first two albums were. But that's something that I believe really heavily in and that I push for, and I try to do that with my time. I don't got much else to do with my time but play guitar and that.
That's good, man. There's two things that kind of come up for me after hearing what you say there, and I appreciate you explaining the song too, because people really love that song, and now that they hear it from you, how you were inspired to write it, that's pretty cool. I appreciate that. And two things come up for me. The first one is the irony about how such a big, strong, tough soldier can come back and say, this is something that makes me so weak. You know what I mean? And the second thing that I really thought about with what you just said is the therapy part about it, where you say, you're not a therapist, you're not here to, help anybody else out in that respect, but your music kind of does. You know what I mean? And you just explaining it like that to people. I'm sure people will listen to that song and get it, and you actually are, just by making the music. You're providing therapy for other people like that, which is pretty cool. So don't sell yourself short, man. That's what it's all about. As
far as the music goes, that's really my own therapy.
Right.
I got regular therapy and stuff that I go to, but when I'm coming home and I'm, feeling a certain way, not every song that I write is like that. And I write a lot of crappy love songs and other things. This is actually my second time being in a songwriters club. Was it 2 years ago? I wrote 52 songs in 1 year, one a week.
I'm
awesome. Doing that again this year.
Nice.
And I'm trying to get to 78 songs this year. So, there's a lot of winners, and then there's some of those losers. And but songs like that, usually when I'm feeling that way, when I'm struggling, if I sit down and write a song. If I ever get down that way, we'll have a couple beers.
There you go.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Anyway, without further ado, I want to thank you, Don, for calling in tonight for sure. The Tosspints Band. Can you tell us, where can people find you? If they want to listen to the Tosspints, where can they get your information at?
Well, it's one for free. We're on Spotify, music videos on YouTube. You can buy all of our albums on all the major retailers like iTunes and Amazon. There's Bandcamp too, which is that you can actually get physical albums. Like all of our albums are on vinyl LP. You can get those through our Bandcamp site. Well, physical CDs and stuff like that. There, that's pretty much. I pretty much made it available any way that anybody wants to get it. It's kind of hard not to find it if you're looking for it. So.
What about Twitter? You got a Twitter account?
Yeah.
You guys are on Facebook?
I do have a Twitter account, twitter.com/@the with the at symbol. Kind of new to Twitter. It's 37 years old and just figuring it out. And it's I've been saying for years I need a kid to teach me how to do this. But
get a little emo kid to come and help you out.
Yeah, I need some little poor 19 years old, and I can buy him beer, and he can show me how to use Twitter.
Right,
and,
skinny jeans and all that.
I've just been figuring it out the last couple of weeks, and finally jumping on, like, really late to the party on it, but been using it. So, yeah, Twitter and the Facebook is the Tosspints, just Facebook/the Tosspints or whatever. That'll get you there, and we got a website, too, and it's got all the stuff on it.
What's your website, Don?
TheTosspints.com.
There you go. Right on.
I'm a wonder pony as far as naming things. It's pretty
it's a good-ass name, though.
Don, check it out, man. I've been trying to get Kevin because he's like the technical one here, and I have the brains. So I was wanting to start like a new social media network, and we're gonna call it Schwitter, where instead of like Twitter, it's Schwitter, and we send pics of shit. All right, like if you take a good dump in the morning, we're just gonna send a pic of our, shit out on Schwitter, and it's like, hey, what do you think of this one? And I think it would go global, dude.
Yeah, I think that's $1 million idea. I'm not certain if you've ever seen people buy just about anything. I mean, like the goat simulator for Xbox. People buy it. It's awesome. Just being a goat.
think about it, Don, what if you're like, you tune into Twitter and you're like, where's Paris Hilton pooping today? You know what I mean? Everybody's going to want to check that out, I don't know. Anyway.
I'm not certain I would want to be the highest followed account on Twitter, but
I would wear that badge like a, I tell you what, if I could be the number one Schwitter, I would wear it with honors.
Yeah,
19.5 million people follow you to see your shit.
Yeah.
Right. Homeless Chuck's more of a Justin Bieber fan, so he'd probably tune into that, man. Dude, I could tell he's still mad at me, dude. I'm so sorry, Chuck. I didn't mean to interrupt you, dude. Don't be mad at me.
I'm fine, Kevin.
I'm sorry, dude.
No.
I'm an asshole, dude.
Phone call with somebody I don't know.
I try to be funny, and sometimes it shoots me in the foot. It's as simple as that. Sometimes I hit a home run. Other times I strike out and fall into my shoes, bro. It's what it is.
Sometimes you're a sloppy bottom.
Yeah, that too.
But this has been good. This has been a good call, man.
Yeah, Don, you're awesome, man.
Yeah.
I thank you for calling in tonight, dude. Everybody check out the Tosspints. Definitely check them out on Twitter. Check them out on Facebook. Check out the tosspints.com, YouTube, all that good stuff, everything you just mentioned. Dude, I really like the album with the pirate ship on it. I forget off the top of my head what the title of that album is, but there's some really good songs. Yeah, what was it, the Pirateer?
The Privateer.
Privateer, thank you. Yes, and that makes a lot more sense than the Pirateer.
I'm sorry, I have a question. The influx is coming hard right now. There's a bunch of guys coming back that did the right thing that aren't right. What do we do as society to embrace and to help?
That's a great question, Chuck.
It's that's $1 million question, man. There's 22 vets every single day that take their own lives, and there's a lot of things that I've seen. Somebody was trying to start like an ALS ice bucket challenge where you do 22 push-ups. I'm not certain exactly what that's going to do to help vets, doing push-ups on your YouTube account. But there's a lot of organizations that do a lot of good. There's some the service dogs for PTSD have proven to be invaluable. They actually are proven to stop suicides. I'm getting one actually next year. I've been on the waiting list for like 2 years. I'll be down in Florida at Canines for Warriors, a service dog.
Good, bro.
Hopefully that's going to change my life a little bit for the better. But there's that stuff. There's guitars for vets. I mentioned Operation Song. You can donate to these organizations. You can donate your time. You can go to the VA and just talk to somebody, Okay. Sometimes those little tiny things just make a huge amount of difference in somebody's life. And, even if you're not exactly certain what you're going to talk about, sometimes just listening is enough to keep a vet from taking his own life or just to make his day better.
Actually, there's something more in my line. Knowledge is power. I'd rather actually go chit-chat with people. Thank you.
Hey, Don. When you come down to Florida to hopefully pick up that service animal, where are you going to be? Do you know where?
I don't know. I do. It's in an email somewhere.
Okay.
They're flying me down there. I'm going to be there for 6 weeks. I have trained the dog myself. I got to train with it. And so the dog and I will be learning together.
That's so cool.
And I have a couple of friends who have these dogs, and for guys with PTSD and traumatic brain injury, they're absolutely life-changing. I get out to concerts and shows and stuff like that will play. I hide in the green room forever. I have a hard time with crowds. I have a hard time with social anxiety. And the guys that I know that have gotten these things, they're going to the county fair with their kids, and anybody knows that's a socially taxing situation.
Exactly. You think about all the variables, all the noise, all the people, all the distractions, all your points of focus. All your points of focus. You're still trained to protect. And
that's the thing that people don't realize about PTSD is you're hyper alert.
Right.
And so that's what causes that anxiety. That's what causes the problem, in public, is you are scanning every single person's face. You are listening to every single noise. You can hear almost everybody's conversation.
Yeah.
And that sort of information coming into you is it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
And, you know, you start having panic attacks, you start getting sick, then you start having flashbacks of times in Iraq when you felt that way, or, you know, Vietnam or wherever you were. Because, you know, people